As the coronavirus spreads, some local hospitals are preparing for a possible surge in patients. Coming up, I'll show you how.
Workers around Wake County are answering the coronavirus call. This is what the front lines look like.
Finding a job locally can be as easy as going online. How an organization is helping people who've lost their jobs because of coronavirus ahead.
The Triangle's #1 source for news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
We now have coronavirus in all 50 states, and major steps were announced today to deal with its spread. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Deborah Morgan in for Catherine Brown. That was an update from the president earlier today. The governor's task force also spoke in the last 2 hours. They announced pregnant women are now in the high-risk category. Also, they said grocery stores will not close. We also want to warn you about a phone scam in our state involving coronavirus that people are falling for.
We have team coverage tonight, and we'll explain what you need to know about that scam in just a few minutes. But first, let's go to Mark Boyle in the Live Center. Mark.
Just getting some new information as the numbers are coming in here to close out the day. This has been a really bad day on the markets. All of the gains while President Trump has been in office have now been erased, with the close today on the stock market down 1,300 points or 6%, really making a lot of people uneasy. Take a look at some of these things right here. This was just posted from Delta Airlines, huge carrier here in Raleigh. They just announced they're going to pull back on their flying over the next few months, 70%, and that's just not international. That is across the board. Stock numbers for Delta trading here at the end of the day around $23 a share. This graph shows they were trading close to $60 a share, and that was just 1 month ago. These airlines are in crisis, as everyone else is around the world. Back to you.
Boy, it's hard to look at. Mark, thank you. You won't see any planes headed for Canada in the next few days. All non-essential travel between the U.S. and Canada is now banned. This is a live look at RDU International. Officials say the governments are still trying to work out details of the plan. They say trade will not be affected. This move is part of a growing effort to stem the spread of the virus.
Globally, more than 200,000 people have been infected with coronavirus, and at least 8,000 have died. Here in North Carolina, health officials confirm 69 cases. Actually, that has just been updated to 71 cases. Local emergency rooms are preparing for a possible surge of patients as COVID-19 spreads. WRAL's Durham reporter Sarah Kruger shows us how Duke University and Duke Regional Hospitals are getting ready.
Duke Regional plans to set up tents right by the emergency room to increase capacity. Over at Duke University Hospital, those tents are already set up. You're looking at a photo of that now. The tents are not in use yet, but will be used if there is a surge of patients on the ER. A Duke University Hospital spokeswoman tells me the tents would be used for intake of patients. That way they can separate those with respiratory symptoms and those without. Dr. Joseph Rogers, Chief Medical Officer for the Duke University Health System, spoke to us by phone this morning. He worries a surge could overwhelm the health system and says we have to work to reduce the spread.
I would like to emphasize to those of you who are listening, it's very important to heed the warnings that we're giving about social distancing, about trying to minimize contact, not going to work when you're ill. We need to blunt the curve.
Dr. Rogers stresses that not everyone with COVID-19 will require emergency care. Doctors say if you think you're experiencing symptoms and it is not an emergency, you should call your doctor. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News, Durham.
Cities and towns across our area are trying to make it easier to support local restaurants in the coming days and weeks. Durham and Wake Forest have assembled lists of local restaurants that will offer takeout. So has the Downtown Raleigh Alliance. You can find those lists and a number of caterers we've spoken to in our Out and About section under the heading Out and About, here to help. Well, even with the carryout option, we've already seen layoffs in local restaurants, and that's where the Frankie Lemon Foundation comes in. The organization created the Triangle Restaurant Workers Relief Fund. It's open to anyone in the restaurant industry who has seen a cut in hours or who has been laid off due to specifically the coronavirus. You can apply on the fund's website. We have a link on WRAL.com.
We know many of you want to help your neighbors in need during this crisis. We have a growing list of links, donation needs, and ways to help, including helping students while schools are closed. Just go to WRAL.com, search Here to Help for ways to lend a hand. Job resource centers are stepping in to help people who have lost their jobs because of the coronavirus. WRAL's Aaron Thomas is live in the capital area workforce development in Raleigh. And Aaron, they must have seen an uptick in traffic.
Yeah, most certainly, Gerald. In fact, a spokesperson with this job resource center tells me they've gotten an increase in phone calls of people wanting to get work. Now, they also go on to say that if you are looking for work, there's no need for you to come inside. They'll help you online. If you're one of those people or worried about being laid off due to coronavirus, help is available.
We do have some workshops occasionally that will talk about finances, especially when you've been laid off, because it is important.
Brenda Wilkerson from the Capital Area Workforce Development says while some places are temporarily closed, you should still search for open jobs.
I think it's important that you still go out and look because many are still hiring, maybe just certain sectors may not be.
Those looking for work can speak with team members virtually who will help fine-tune your resume and see what jobs you qualify for. The virtual component is an effort to limit person-to-person contact in the office. And we'll have the contact information for this job resource center posted on our website, WRAL.com. Now at 5, you're going to hear from a woman. She's a veteran. She's temporarily out of work because of coronavirus concerns. You're going to find out the steps that she's taking. We're going to also break down the unemployment of application process. Back to you.
All right, Aaron Thomas, live in Raleigh. Thank you, Aaron.
The total number of coronavirus cases in North Carolina, as we just said moments ago, hit 71 today. So far, no one in the state has died from the disease. State health and emergency officials offered an update today. WRAL's Laura Leslie was at that briefing, and she joins us now live from Raleigh. Laura?
Deborah, a lot of today's briefing sounded similar to what we heard yesterday, but there were a few new pieces of information that we wanted to highlight for you. First, pregnant women are now considered to be in the high-risk category for having more serious illness from COVID-19. That's in addition to people over 65 and people with underlying health conditions like lung disease. State health leaders are asking all high-risk people to stay home as much as possible. Secondly, watch out for testing scams. Attorney General Josh Stein says some people have gotten calls from scammers claiming to be with the local health department, telling people they'll be quarantined unless they pay for a test. Your health department will not charge you for a test, period. And last, the state does not plan to tell a grocery store to close its doors. Emergency Management Director Mike Sprayberry says the stores will stay open and supplied.
Stores are getting regular deliveries and restocking. Please resist the urge to stockpile food or engage in panic buying. Leave some for others, especially those who can't afford to buy a lot of food all at once.
And State Health Director Dr. Elizabeth Tilson added to that she's asking folks to reach out to your elderly or at-risk neighbors or acquaintances to see if they need some help with getting those groceries or supplies so that they can stay out of those crowded places. Back to you.
So important that we help our neighbors at this time. Laura Leslie, live in Raleigh. Thank you, Laura. Well, we've heard from some of you complaining about potential price gouging. The Attorney General's office has too, and we're told it's received at least 136 price gouging complaints, most of them involving grocery stores.
That is a shame, but we know it happens all the time, unfortunately. Wake County emergency officials say cutting back on our interactions with other people is key to getting ahead of this virus.
Well, in some places, there are orders to shelter in place. WRAL's Adam Owens asked authorities if that's a possibility here. He joins us now live from downtown Raleigh with what they had to say. Adam?
Deborah and Gerald, emergency officials here in Wake County say the guidance they are getting on how to respond to this virus is changing all the time. Just take a trip around our area. You'll see a lot of our businesses and our institutions are already closed. In some other parts of the country, they're taking it a step further. In some parts of the country, residents have been asked to shelter in place.
This is an ever-changing situation.
I asked a Wake County emergency management team leader about that.
So the city and county of San Francisco we have had discussions with them on what that means from an enforcement perspective, what that means from a moving perspective. We have to obviously, if that were something that we got to, we would have to work to make sure that people had access to the resources they need for their own health and safety and well-being.
While shelter in place has has been discussed among emergency workers, it is not something they are looking to implement right now. It is also important to understand what it really means. Under the rules in San Francisco, people can still leave their homes and exercise. Bars and gyms must close. Restaurants would be takeout only. Essential businesses like grocery stores, gas stations, banks, and pharmacies would remain open. Authorities say it is voluntary as well. And a lot of those conditions are effectively in place in many areas around the Triangle. But again, Wake County officials, this has been discussed. But again, we want to point out it is not something they are looking to implement anytime soon. Back to you.
Adam Owens live in Raleigh. Thanks, Adam. Well, it's always our goal to spread facts, not fear about coronavirus. The WRAL team you trust is airing a special broadcast tonight at 7 o'clock. Gerald and I will be here to help you answer your questions.
You may be using extra wipes right now because of the virus. When you're done, do not flush these down the toilet.
How it's causing problems in our plumbing system. That story is coming up.
And you may be wondering if it's safe to receive packages from China. We'll answer that question next.
And some local hospitals are setting up emergency triage units, how they will be used to screen patients before they come inside. That's coming up at 5. And Kat Campbell is joining us remotely. We are doing our social distancing. And Kat, take it away.
Yeah. It was a cloudy, gray start to the morning, but breaks in the clouds, allowing for a nice warm up for the afternoon. I'll explain the big change we have for the weekend coming up.
I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center. Right now, you're looking live at the Senate floor in Washington, D.C., where lawmakers are talking about plans to get the economy back on track, in addition to a slew of other things as well. Right here in blue, the Senate does have the votes to pass legislation to expand paid leave and unemployment insurance in response to the coronavirus pandemic. That's the good news. Congress is already working on a massive stimulus package. So that right there, that part is what a lot of Americans right now are talking about at home and here in our area about those checks that we could receive in the mail. Right now, there is talks of one round of checks coming in April, another round of checks coming in May. We do expect more details on that bill to come out later this evening or tomorrow. Back to you.
Thank you, Mark. Morrisville has declared a state of emergency. Town leaders say most residents won't see a direct impact, but there are some changes. That means some town meetings will be canceled or postponed. All organized events at Morrisville parks will be canceled through April 5th. All the bathrooms at those parks will be closed until then. And the planned Easter egg hunt will not happen this year.
With school out for 2 weeks, we have seen an incredible response from local districts to help feed their students. Take a look at this. Johnston County Schools started their curbside grab-and-go service today. Nutrition teams are helping prepare the meals. Meals are free to any student 18 years old or younger, regardless of whether they attend a Johnston County public school.
More cancellations. Officials at Cherry Point have canceled this year's air show. It was scheduled for May 1st through the 3rd. We're told that full refunds will be offered to those who pre-purchased their tickets. If you have more questions, you should reach out to the Marine Corps.
As we continue to bring you all the latest information on the coronavirus pandemic, we're trying to help you weed out fact from fiction to make sure you have the best information to keep you and your family safe. Tonight, David Crabtree has our Facts, Not Fear.
In tonight's Facts Not Fear segment, we are looking at several things, and here's the first. If you have coronavirus, you'll know. According to scientists, this is false. Because COVID-19 has such varied symptoms, you may not know you have it. You could mistake a cough from a common cold, or you might not be showing any symptoms and could be contagious. That's why it is so important to use social distancing and wash your hands. Second tonight, we hear a lot about this. Is it safe to have packages delivered from China? Yes, it is. While there's still a lot to learn about COVID-19 based on past similar viruses, it is very unlikely the virus could survive the trip from China to your front door. And there are no known cases. And finally tonight, drinking a lot of water can help flush COVID-19 from your system. This is wild all over the internet, and it is totally false. While doctors say drinking water is always a good idea to remain hydrated, there is no evidence, none, that drinking more water will flush the virus from your system. If you have questions about coronavirus you would like answered, email them to us or send them to us on Facebook.
At a time when you are likely cleaning every surface of your home, keep this in mind. When you're done with those wipes, make sure to dispose of them properly. Look at this photo from the city of Durham. Crews there say the sewers are already getting clogged with these wipes, tissues, and paper towels. That can eventually jam up your plumbing. So do everyone a favor and throw them in the trash.
The city of Raleigh is taking steps to make it easier for customers to pick up orders from restaurants and small businesses. Crews are converting parking spaces into temporary pickup zones. Each red dash on the map you see is a zone, and you can see many are clustered near downtown restaurants. The zones allow easier access for customers who want to pick up food or other orders.
Well, here at WRAL, we are doing our part in practicing social distancing. So Kat Campbell isn't here in the studio today.
Yep, Kat is joining us from home, but she has a setup in her home now to still be able to bring us all the information we need about the weather. Kat?
Yeah, my dining room is looking a little bit different these days. I have a giant green screen up behind me. We just want to let you know that no matter what happens, we will be able to get you weather information. So we're going to be doing that today. I want to go ahead and jump into the forecast because we've got to talk about what is on the way for the weekend. I hope that you are able to get outside, get some fresh air today, tomorrow, and Friday, because we are expecting some bigger changes by the time we get to the weekend. And that, unfortunately, is going to come with some cooler temperatures as well, just in time for the weekend. But we have made adjustments to some of the temperatures, so you're going to notice that. And one of the important adjustments is to take temperatures out of the 30s and bump them back up into the 40s for our overnight lows. Our weekend, though, let's take a look at our temperatures. For Friday, temperatures are forecast to be in the 80s. By early Sunday morning, temperatures are going to take that tumble back into the 40s once again. For our temperatures, town by town right now, we are sitting at 61 degrees in South Hill as well as Roxborough, 66 degrees in Raleigh and Durham right now, 70s for our southern communities. Once we saw the sun, temperatures jumped up quickly today, and it really should be nice if you want to head out for a dog walk this afternoon. Temperatures should stay in the 60s and 70s for the remainder of the afternoon, and we do have dry weather in the forecast. That will last into Friday. Friday's our warm day with temperatures in the 80s. Check this out, a high of 84 degrees on Friday. We're in the 70s on Saturday. We cool down a bit for Saturday with a chance for rain, but you really notice that difference on Sunday. The big picture on satellite and radar, things are pretty quiet across North Carolina, seeing some of the cloud cover break up, but we have rain to our west. We're going to have to watch that rain as it gets closer to us tonight. We do have the chance for showers tonight. Precipitation chances for the next couple of days, things stay pretty low. Monday is going to be our best chance for rain at a 40% chance of rain. Nothing widespread is expected through the remainder of the week. And tonight, just a few showers. Anything that we see would be very light. Temperatures tonight falling into the 50s and 60s. Very mild tonight. Town by town tomorrow, we are back in the 70s and get this even 80s for our southern communities. It's going to be a mild day tomorrow. The chance for rain. Most of the rain that we would see tomorrow would be early in the day. And let's take a closer look here at the 7-day forecast over the next 7 days. We have spring starting tomorrow. Feels like spring. High temperatures in the 70s, 80s by Friday, a windy day on Friday, and then temperatures fall for the second part of the weekend. A little cooler early next week with high temperatures back in the 50s and 60s most of the week. Next week, unfortunately, looking pretty unsettled. I know we've seen a lot of cloud cover lately. We do have the chance for rain lasting into next week, and we should see quite a bit of cloud cover as well. The bright side, temperatures are pretty mild for the next couple of days, so try to get some fresh air. Back to you.
Kat, I am just amazed by how remarkably good everything looks coming from your home. You got to love technology, and you did a fantastic job.
I had to look over there in the Weather Center and make sure you weren't here.
I love a good technical challenge. You know, it's my nerd side.
We certainly have one with coronavirus, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Thank you, Kat.
She has answered that challenge. A florist has taken a classic bouquet of flowers and turned it into something different.
It's just like a dozen roses, except that he has toilet paper. I mean, we made toilet paper look pretty, I guess.
How a social media joke turned into something real, and an update on what local businesses are doing to stay afloat during this difficult time ahead at 4:30.
Tonight is all new on WRAL. Starting at 8, it's an all-new Chicago Med, followed by a new episode of Chicago Fire at 9. Then at 10, it's an all-new Chicago PD, followed by WRAL News at 11.
Nothing says I love you like a dozen roses. But during this coronavirus scare, there's something your significant other may want even more.
As Andrew Ellison reports, what started as a joke is getting one florist a lot of attention.
It's just like a dozen roses, except that he has toilet paper. I mean, we made toilet paper look pretty, I guess, if you can consider that.
And faster than you can say double ply, the toilet tissue bouquet was born. What started as a joke on Facebook for the owners of Blossom Events and Florists in Truman, Arkansas, quickly became a viral sensation.
Like I said, it was just for giggles, you know, to bring some smiles to our community.
With the coronavirus pandemic foremost on everyone's mind, David and Bart Faulkner recognized the need for something people would smile about. Judging from the nationwide reaction the TP bouquet has received, they're succeeding, even getting a big thumbs up from a caller in the Big Apple.
Because in New York, she said it's very doom and gloom, and she said, so this is definitely making people smile up here.
Faulkner says people across the nation have asked about ordering a bouquet, but sales have been limited to local customers.
One guy sent it to his wife at her work, and you know, we've got one mother sending it to her daughter for a fun little St. Patrick's Day gift.
And while the unique arrangement is making for a lot of snickering,
there's been a lot of off color, so we'll probably refrain from the jokes right now.
The pair is seriously concerned about what the coronavirus is doing to their business, one that primarily depends on weddings.
But it is going to affect our business. I mean, you know, one way or another. So we're just trying to, right now, do like everybody, make the best of it.
Make the best of it. They certainly are doing that. A bouquet of toilet paper costs customers about $75, the same price as a dozen roses.
You know, in this serious time, a little laughter doesn't hurt.
It's so true. We need a little comic relief, no doubt.
Yeah. Coming up, one man is trying to make life easier for people during this crisis.
How he's doing his part by giving away toilet paper to dozens of people in his community.
The coronavirus has changed the way law enforcement is doing business.
We're getting prepared for this. We've gotten prepared for this.
We'll tell you the impact it's having on departments and their jails.
A lot of medical facilities and doctors' offices now have these signs. Stop if you have symptoms. Don't even think about coming inside. We'll show you how that's leading to more drive-up coronavirus testing.